What the hell? Starting in the middle. Well, fuck that then. Had this all planned out. In a world where the NFC North is a battleground for football supremacy, 4 teams stand ready to claim the throne. Welcome to Who Will Be King, the ultimate NFC North roundup show brought to you by Fans First Sports Network. In this gripping episode, we're going to start over in the Windy City with the Chicago Bears. Witness the rise of the rookies, led by #1 overall pick Caleb Williams. Cornerback Jalen Johnson's stellar season last year and Montez Sweat's commendable performance sets a stage for an electrifying 2024. Then northwards to the frozen tundra we go to talk Green Bay Packers. We're going to dive into the financial reports revealing that nearly $13 billion with a B in NFL revenue was distributed amongst all 32 teams. And boy, does Pay want to talk about that. The future of professional quarterback Jordan Love and his promising potential takes center stage, along with his possible contract. Then we head east to the Motor City with the Detroit Lions. We have Calvin Johnson's legacy will be immortalized this season. And the 2024 NFL Draft brings an economic windfall to Detroit. When's it coming to Chicago? When's it coming to Minnesota? We don't know. Speaking of which, to the land of 10,000 lakes, the saga of J.J. McCarthy's contract, Randy Moss's insights on the rookie quarterback, and Bobby Bryant being hoisted to the Ring of Honor later this season has people captive and full of excitement. All this and more. Join us for the epic journey as we uncover the latest updates from training camp preparations of the Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers, Detroit Lions, and the Minnesota Vikings, with a star-studded panel featuring Pay from the Bear Claw Podcast, June and Foster from Bleachers To Speakers, and me, Dave, from Vikings First and SKOL, as we hope to bring you an unparalleled insights, analysis, and of course, banter. So get ready for an exhilarating NFL season as we unveil the latest from the NFC North on Who Will Be King. Let the battles begin. And we're here for another week of the best NFC North content on the planet. And I want to welcome my fellow contributors representing Detroit and Chicago. We're going to start off and say hello to June and Foster. June, how are things in the Motor City today?
Oh, man, it's nice and toasty outside. Everything's great, man. Good Detroit weather. I'm ready for football, though.
Oh, you ain't kidding. And it's coming up. It's real soon. Foster, how are you doing?
Trying to stay cool.
Awesome. We're all trying to do that. Autumn's my favorite time of year because temperatures go down, the air gets clear, gets crisp, and football's in the air. Speaking of football, the one team that has started, they reported yesterday, the rookies did, is the Chicago Bears. Pay, how's everything in the land of navy blue and orange?
Bears. Everything's great so far. We got our guys signed. It's time to roll. 50 days until kickoff, Dave. 50 days until Thursday night football. That's one Mike Singletary away from pay dirt.
Pop the champagne and the fingernail polish.
Mm-hmm. Let's go.
Hey, he is who he is, and we'll see what happens when he actually hits the field and has defenders from the Lions, the Packers, and the Vikings in his face. Should be interesting. Now, I wanted to start off with, once I get to my notes, hey, been busy today. Been busy.
It happens.
Let's start with, since Green Bay happens to be owned by a city and is publicly owned versus the rest of the league, we have reports on their finances. And it turns out that over $400 million, I don't remember the exact number, but it comes to close to 14 billion or 13 billion. It's 12.875 or something like that.
Good guess. Right on the
head. Spread through the 32 teams around the league. That is a chunk of change. And that doesn't include what they bring in, right? Through their normal ticket sales and condiments and, their team store and all the other stuff that they have it. But that's a chunk of change. Pay, you wanted to talk about the money. What do you think of that amount of money?
Well, it's a large amount of money. I can't sweep that underneath the rug, Dave. What stood out to me is that what the report says is that the Packers themselves locally only collected about $200 million. That's a bit low for me because the annual, I think the Packers, they said $656 million in total revenue, which you subtract from the national pot that you just spoke about, the $400 million that every team got from the National Football League. So that leaves about $250 for the Packers that they created on their own. That's barely the cap, right? So that gets me to start asking some questions like, what are you doing over there that you're only able to generate barely the operating revenue just to have the team? I mean, you got sponsorship deals with local businesses. You've got your suites you can sell. You got all the gate, the parking, merchandise sales. And you all have watched Packers games for how long? You see sea of green. And you know that they're selling these jerseys at the team store. I'm flabbergasted that their local revenue is just, and this is a funny word to use, minor, as only $250 million.
Yeah, if you think about it, it seems like it should be more. I don't want to say it's not a lot, but it seems like it should be more.
Well, a quarter of a B is a lot of money, but fellas.
I could tell you the estimated total for the Vikings was a lot more than that.
It's crazy.
And I would suspect a team like Dallas or, the New York teams or Chicago or at least the LA Rams, maybe. LA Rams, stuff like that, they're making bank. Kansas City. Teams, and And some of those are small market teams.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say, well, it's the market size. Well, Minnesota's considered small market. Green Bay's got probably a larger fan base.
Sell out every game. Sell out every game.
Mm-hmm. And,
no matter the record.
And you know they save money when they only pay their fans less than minimum wage to go out there and shovel snow.
Hey, we don't have to worry about that. June and Foster don't have to worry about that.
Nah.
In the future pay, you won't have to worry about that. So.
Oh no, I can tell you right now. Those Chicagoans going out there to shovel anything.
But it is. I found it fascinating that one, the league made that much money. Now they're worried about the lawsuit with Sunday Ticket, and that may cost them $14 billion. Well, that's a little over a team's worth.
Mm-hmm.
And but we'll find out. They'll hit it, and from what I gather on that, it won't affect player salaries because there's a clause in the CBA that if the NFL proper gets punished, it can't be taken out on the players. So it's going to be interesting, but that's years down the road before they finally settle on that one. Mm-hmm. But we'll find out. But that's a lot of money. And the fact I didn't realize that Packers only pulled in a couple $100 million.
Yeah, they said their as you said, the revenue was $250 million, but their profit went down from $68 million last year to the previous year from $68 million to this last football season, $60 million. That's, if I'm the owner of the Packers, like, hey, there's not enough money for me and my yachts. I need more. Well, the Packers are not collectively owned, but if I was a single owner, right?
Yeah, single owner with that piece of paper has probably got a 14-foot Lund he takes out fishing every once in a while.
Mm.
So, but speaking of money, there was a news article that came out this week about how the draft affected Detroit. Did you guys read that?
I read a little bit of it.
Detroit, and I'm trying to look for the exact numbers that they reported, but Detroit pulled in well over $200 million in revenue for hosting the draft.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why Green Bay wanted it. They've got it next year.
Mm.
And I don't know how much of that 200 plus million of their profit, 250 that they brought in, went to Titletown, the development that's next to the stadium where they're going to host the draft. How much is that team owned or city owned? That's where maybe some of that money went. But I don't know, because without doing the research and being up there and following the books. But it's possible. But it does point out how hosting the draft is beneficial to your city. Did you guys see anything that came out of it, Foster? Since the draft was held there, is it anything improved? Was anything better? State of the city more?
Yeah. You don't. You don't. There's no visual. Something that says, "Oh, this is where the 200 million went." So hopefully, it went to some positive in the future. But nothing instantaneous or anything close to that.
They've been working on downtown Detroit, and not just recently, but over the past few years. So they're developing it more. So it'll be hard to tell if they did any changes because of the draft, because downtown Detroit has been a work in progress for the last few years. So they're improving what's going on down there. So, but we don't see any significant changes due to the draft or any other kind of income with the football. So,
Well, it'd be interesting to find out if they've had such a impact, and it was reported $213.6 million, 161.3 were from out of towners.
Mm-hmm.
And that, oh boy, that's a lot. And 775,000 attendees. Man, that's great.
That's a lot
I
for
do
a
want
week.
to point out. I do want to point out the Detroit. What was it? City of Commerce or whatever that published the report. It said the $213 million is an impact to the area, not necessarily in revenue or new monies gained. So, as you were saying, Dave, they spent $161 million in projects within that area, and also 100 and some money is from out of towners because it's new money. I did notice that the hotels, they said from day one, the hotels was almost 100% booked all throughout the metro area. Well, that's good for the transportation community.
Absolutely.
I think it's great for the whole city because it's when you bring in the dollars and they say the average person spent $275 a piece, but those dollars get rolled over and over and over. When they go buy a pizza, a Detroit deep dish pizza, or the Detroit style pizza, that money goes to the pizzeria. And then that pizzeria owner gives it to his employees who they go out and they go visit Chicago and buy a pan pizza from Chicago.
They get the real good stuff there.
Right.
But what I'm saying is it generates activity, economic activity. That's got to be great for the city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
And the area. And it definitely brings a higher stature to the team and more national focus, along with you guys winning. Will be paid this season by everybody else because they go, hey, Detroit, they had the draft and they won last year. Hey, pretty cool. Let's watch it.
It sounds like hosting a draft is better than hosting the Olympics, Dave.
Yeah, because a lot of Olympics go in the hole when they do that.
They do.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they do. Well, Green Bay's got it next year. Then it's followed by Pittsburgh and DC as the potential host for 27. We'll see. There'll be a bunch of cities fighting for it in 27.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see if it's DC or not. It's going to be interesting. But is there any other money issues you want to talk about, Pay, maybe with the Savior?
Oh yeah, that's nice segue, Dave. Yeah. So speaking of money making deals, money making Mitch, Caleb. The C in Caleb stands for compensated. He signed his deal yesterday. $39 million over 4 years, $25 million guaranteed, and not to be outdone, Roma Duzier, his Robin to his Batman, if you will. He also signed his 4-year deal yesterday, $22 million over 4, with I think $17 million guaranteed. He's also got his 5th year already, not guaranteed, but his 5th year is optioned already. Great for the Bears and great for content makers because we can stop talking about this. It was annoying. It is hard to be fake excited about that type of stuff. Like, why haven't they signed yet? Who cares? You know they're going to play week 1, right? So it doesn't matter.
We said last week it's still early. Like I wasn't like worried or not whether they were going to sign. It's still early.
Yeah, it's still early. Yeah, as we said on the last episode of the Bear Claw podcast, which hit your audio waves this morning, we were talking about how sports is less about wins and losses, less about competition, less about all those rah-rah things that you hear. It's more so half big business and half entertainment. And it would not shock me if the Bears, Ryan Pace and the brain trust of the Bears, them and the people, Roma Duze's camp and Caleb, because he doesn't have a camp, I'm just gonna call him Caleb by himself. It would not shock me that all three of them got together and said, you know what, let's do this day one of camp, just so Hard Knock cameras could be right there when they see us sign this paper.
Good idea. Hey, wasn't it last week when you went over, when do most players sign, first rounders sign? You know, it's rare that they sign right after the draft. Most of them sign
Very rare.
right at the beginning of training camps.
Out of the last 5 drafts, only 2 of the number 1 picks signed before July.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that makes perfect sense. Now, speaking of signing your quarterback, we're still hemming and hawing over the signing of ours, J.J. McCarthy, and he is yet to sign, as well as Dallas Turner, but everything's on schedule for them to sign. Probably the rookies report on Sunday. It'll probably be early next week we get the press conference. But I'm not worried about it. The only thing that's interesting, because there's only 3 things, and I don't have it listed in front of me, that you can negotiate because the slot and the pay is already there. And they have to deal with guarantees. And from what I gather, Caleb Williams is going to get all his guaranteed money up front. I'm hearing that's what J.J. McCarthy wants, and I'm sure Dallas Turner does too. But they're all related to that you can negotiate. Now, just seeing before the show, and I was talking with Pay about it, there's a 4th thing they're trying to negotiate, or possibly, and he hadn't, and that's whether to put the franchise tag on the individual, right?
Yeah, Caleb's a sneaky one. I'm not mad at him.
Very sneaky. I don't trust him.
Yeah, well, I mean, the prince that was promised.
Why would he want a franchise or not have a franchise tag?
He doesn't. He reportedly he was trying to work out a deal with the Chicago Bears that where it would be stipulated that he would not get tagged at the end of his rookie deal, which is a bit outrageous. But hey, you never know what you can get unless you ask. Closed mouths don't get fed.
Oh, stop it. He's not getting that. He's so arrogant.
He's not getting it. You're right. He already signed the dotted line. So if push comes to shove and, he is everything that we expect him to be, and, he's demanding a lot of money and the Bears just ain't got it right now, he will get that tag.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the tag's always covered the team, and I don't see how a rookie can demand that, but
nice try, though.
Yeah, good try. Very good try.
I respect the effort. I
don't respect it. Who did he think he is?
I already told you, the prince that was promised.
Okay, sure. I didn't see a whole lot of news coming out of Detroit other than they're going to put, and why they haven't already blows my mind. I'm looking at the notes. They're going to induct Calvin Johnson into the Pride of the Lions, which I'm sure is equivalent to the Ring of Honor that we have. Mm-hmm. Why did it take so long?
There was a strain on the relationship between Calvin Johnson and the Lions. When it came to him retiring, the Lions organization wanted some money back. And I think they got it back. And it was a long time where Calvin didn't speak on their organization, didn't speak to anybody within the organization. That relationship was strained at that point, and they were not even associated with one another. He would turn up his nose at the mention of the Detroit Lions. But now he's coming around, and he was seen at the games last year. So I don't know what happened to change that, but that's probably what took so long.
Interesting, because he is a Hall of Famer and he's a legend.
Absolutely.
Everybody knows Megatron.
Yeah.
Everybody was in the division was sick of seeing him running down the sideline, and because you knew the ball was going there.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that he didn't have the rest of a team around him during that whole time. But hey,
it is what it is.
It is.
Gone that route before. Barry Sanders.
Yes, yeah. There's another one. But Barry's already in the pride of the Lions.
Yeah. That never fell out of favor with him, but there was a totally different circumstance with Calvin Johnson. They were not on good terms with the Fords, the owners.
Well, I see that it's going to be September 30th, the game. You're hosting the Seahawks. Are you going to be there?
I would like to. I got that game circled on my calendar. We'll see. They're taxing. The ticket prices are so high for opening day. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think everybody's tickets went up.
And they were high last year. And that was without this, like, from the beginning of the season to, like, it was like they knew they had something going. So those tickets were sky high, and I assume they're going to be higher this year.
They got lawsuits to pay off, Dave.
Well, maybe Foster I can borrow some money from him. He has a whole lot of money. I'm not in the same tax bracket as Foster. Maybe he can buy me a ticket.
Yeah,
That'd be nice. That would be nice. Hey, but is there anything else happening in Detroit's?
Foster, correct me if I'm wrong, but nothing. It's been.
Well, you know what? Well, I don't know. It's a social media. There's a lot of stirring in social media about trade rumors. I don't know to what extent it's accurate or relevant, but Matt Judon and the trade rumors. I keep seeing it. I just keep seeing it. I want to just text him, call him. Hey, what's going on? We grew up with Matt Judon, but so I don't know to what extent that's there's anything going on there. But also Brandon Ayuk, I think he officially requested a trade, or there's some rumors about that as well. So, and I don't know, when you see stuff like that, I don't know if that's a good team thing or whatever. But hey, I'm not with the expectations that we have, and with the expectations that we have, I mean, Brad Holmes is kind of in a position to where he's got to make some things happen, and we're not sneaking up on anybody this year. Everybody is got us circled on their calendar, I would assume. So, hey, that would be crazy to see a Ayuk or a Judon added to the team. I mean, the city would go up in flames at the idea, I think, if that was official, because of course Judon's a hometown guy, but he's also a Pro Bowler, and Ayuk, he's one of the reasons why we didn't win the Super Bowl last year. So we welcome him with open arms, of course.
You said win the Super Bowl, not go. You just hopped over that. Just
I mean, no, once you get there, it's 50-50. But
fair enough.
Well, it's going to be interesting because if he does get traded, whoever's going to get him will probably have to have his next contract ready for him. And that's not going to be cheap.
That's true. That's true.
You should pay attention to Paige look away when you say something.
Oh, man. Oh.
It's like
it'll throw you off.
It's godlike. It's like, wow.
Yeah, like he's the only one can have all the receivers in the league, like, yeah, we have so.
Hey, they've got some good ones. But we'll see. Now, speaking of wide receivers, Receiver, the Netflix series came out last week. Have you seen it? Pay, have you watched?
I've seen most of it. After we talked about it for a little bit last week, I haven't went back to watch any more. So I think I've gotten through the first 5.5 episodes. I've seen some of the Justin Jefferson, most of the Amon-Ra St. Brown. Big fan. Amon-Ra St. Brown, that's my guy. Yeah, but it's been pretty interesting. I didn't watch the last season. I think this is the second season of Receiver. I didn't see the
last year was quarterbacks. This year is receivers.
Well, I didn't watch the previous incarnations of the show. So this is my first dip in the toe dip, if you will, into Netflix, how they get down with this with their NFL properties. So this is so far so good.
I think it's a great insight to what goes on for, they pick the players, whether it be Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Ayuk, Kittle, they go through and you meet all their family and friends and all that stuff, the wives, the kids, but it's the injuries and the training processes and how they're feeling during the games and after the games. That just fascinates me. And hey, I'm looking forward to Hard Knocks training camp edition with the Chicago Bears, because I can't wait to see the drama that happens there.
That ought to be good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be in for that for sure.
Yep, it should. Did Foster leave us because he didn't want any spoilers or something?
There's no telling with Foster, man. There's no telling.
Now, DiGiorno was getting old.
I can tell you that Amon-Ra, he was a beast in that show. And you got something there, June. You keep him. He was was awesome.
I'm going to tell you something. When he first got drafted, of course, I was totally against that pick. There was another receiver that I had on my board that that was above St. Brown. When they got him, I said, he's too little. He's not fast enough. Well, we need an outside receiver. We don't need a slot. I had all those complaints, but they showed back then that his father was a bodybuilder, how he worked out with his children, and he actually knew the people that were drafted above him. He had a grudge, and learning this as a rookie, if you watched him in that rookie season, it was a horrible season for the Lions. However, he got better stat-wise every game, and he started to look like a weapon out there. And you instantly, if you're paying attention, you became a fan. And I've been a fan even before, learning of all of this other stuff that they displayed in the first episode with the injury and everything else. Like, we got something here, and I'm glad he got a contract extension. I'm very glad he got a contract.
Well, you're not quite all the way through, but I'll spoil it. They'll go all the way to the end and show him signing the contract.
Yeah.
So it's a happy moment.
Yeah.
He was a fourth round draft pick, right? Or a fifth round?
Was it that long? I don't know when it was.
It wasn't a first rounder, that's for sure.
It was not the first at all. I think it was I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I don't know when he was drafted, but I know when he was drafted. I can't remember the receiver's name, and he's not doing anything in the league. I can tell you that right now. This is who the Lions should get, not St. Brown. Like, St. Brown wasn't even a choice for me. I'm like, Lions need a receiver. This guy's available, and they get St. Brown. And
I want to say he's a fourth rounder, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I think he's a fourth rounder. The reason why that sticks in my mind because he was definitely drafted in the fourth round. The reason why that sticks in my mind because I'm always mad about what our general manager does with our fourth round picks. Like, look, we could have drafted a guy like that, but you threw it away for somebody not on the team. I want to see your draft board, June. If you're mad about 4th round picks, I want to see your draft board.
Hey, it's freaking horrible. You don't want to see it. I am ashamed. I can tell you the picks that they got that I totally disagreed with, and you'd be like, "Are you kidding me?" Like it's oh my gosh. I never satisfied with who they pick. Totally again. This year I shut up. I said, you know what? And they picked somebody I like, so I didn't say anything.
I do see that for some reason, I want to tell the fans, I see your remarks are coming in over my phone, but they are not coming in through the program right now, and I apologize for that. I'll have to send Ecam a note. This is wrong. That's why we haven't had any updates in a bit. I don't know why. But stuff happens sometimes, and that's what happens with software. So I apologize, but I'm glad you guys are still putting stuff in, and a lot of my friends are here. Scottish Bear is there as well, even though we can't see his comment on the screen. Chris Olson, I'm trying to see if there's any other people other than my normal crew that is out there, and I want to welcome my normal crew as well.
Dan Hanneman.
Now, speaking of wide receivers, yes, in receiver we had Justin Jefferson, and Justin Jefferson was just outstanding. You watched him go through his injuries, first the hammy, and then the lung contusion that almost killed him, and come back, and he wanted to play, and he wanted to be the best, and he gets over 1,000 yards, 9.5 games. Just wonderful. Justin Jefferson, you know, they show him at the end, gets paid. Justin Jefferson has a great dynamic with Coach Kevin O'Connell. Hey, that just started to pop in.
Okay.
And but Justin Jefferson isn't the problem for the Vikings when it comes to receivers.
Uh-oh.
For the second year in a row, first round draft pick, Jordan Addison has a vehicle incident. Last year, it was doing 140 miles an hour in his Lamborghini Urus down I-94. Okay? And supposedly he had a sick dog or whatever, and he had a talking to, but everything was basically, all right, don't do stupid shit again. You're good to go. Well, this week, a little over a week after we lose Kyrie Jackson in a alcohol-related car accident, high-speed car accident, and we talked about that last week. Rest in peace, Kyrie, and to his two fellow high school teammates that also lost their lives. He's out in Los Angeles, and he blocks a lane on I-105. He's in his Rolls Royce. Now, I'd love to talk to the young man about money management. He's easily spent well over $1 million on just those two cars. Probably those two cars. And I know he's got a third one at least. But he's blocking traffic on I-105. And he gets police officer stops at 11:35 in the evening. So traffic, it's not LA and rush hour, but it's still LA. And they said the officer reports that he was sleeping in a lane. Now, I don't know if he was sleeping or not. This is all we got was arrested for suspicion of DUI. DUI doesn't necessarily mean alcohol. And it could be anything else, drugs, legal medications, whatever. But it was the second vehicle incident, and he was released within about 2.5 hours on a site. And I just saw it today. It's a site and something law they have that if they promise to come back for their case, they get released. Now, I'm assuming it wasn't alcohol and he wasn't drunk, because usually they do not release somebody if they're still intoxicated. But it's LA. I have no idea. But I could tell you there are good chunks of the Minnesota Vikings fan base. And from what I'm hearing, the Minnesota Vikings powers to be, from coaching staff, front office, and owners, that are quite pissed. So we'll see. Yes, Dan, it could be really strong edibles. We don't know. It has not come out yet, nor will it. We don't get a mugshot because of the way it was the cite and release deal. We get nothing until it plops out legally. So I don't know what it is. But a DUI generally, from what I'm reading, generally gets you an automatic 3-game suspension. Once they go through all the process. And they'll probably let it work its way out legally first.
Can I touch on that?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah, well, for one, well, first of all, he's obviously has a problem. I mean, this is a pretty consistent issue. If we're talking about the second time around, he's only been in the league this is his second year that he just had. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but outside of that, the timing is awful, of course, given the circumstances of what the team is already going through. But I just hope that he really gets whatever the help, or I don't know. I'm assuming he needs some type of assistance with something, because I mean, this is a very talented individual, and he's taking for granted the opportunity that's been given to him, that thousands of tens of thousands of people would kill to be in a position that he's in, and he's just kind of just living as if it's a given, and this is something that he was meant to be a part of, because if nothing else, he's going to injure himself, somebody else. But it's too much of a consistent behavior. I mean, this is the amount of times that he's gotten caught or in trouble for it. This doesn't account for the amount of times that he's actually participating. And there's just too many resources. Like, I know you got your Lamborghini, you got your Rolls, whatever, but there's too many resources. You got too much money, obviously, to be making decisions like that, when you could easily have a driver service. I'm sure the team will be willing to invest in funds to push off to the side for issues like that, because there's no excuse for him to be behaving in such a way, with the amount of opportunity and the amount of resources that he has to prevent stuff like that. That's all I can really say about that.
Exactly, Foster. Like, for the common folk like us on this panel, even for us, there's resources that can prevent us from getting behind the wheel after drinking. So I know a person with money has even more options and more resources. I mean, if I'm in those shoes and I drink, I got people I can pay to take me where I need to. I don't have to get behind the wheel. I can pay for a driver. I can pay for an Uber. I can stay at home. I can not drink. There's so many other options that I can do. Plus, being in trouble the year before, behind the wheel is you just got to make better decisions than that.
And there are programs in place. I think every team has their own. The NFL Players Association has their own. All they got to do is call 1-800 number or whatever, and a ride will be provided. And they'll even provide somebody to bring their car to them, so it's there the next day. And it doesn't cost the player a dime.
That's crazy.
I believe it.
Smart enough to to initiate that than drive.
On one hand, he has great taste in automobiles. I mean, he's got Rolls, he's got a Lamb.
Yes.
The man knows his four wheels.
Lamb truck, not just a Lamb truck.
Yeah, the Urus.
Maybe he should. Yeah, maybe he should have been in Detroit, the Motor City. But hey, on one hand, he's got great taste in automobiles. On the other hand, he's got terrible decision making once he gets behind the wheels. Yeah, like you said, Dave, 2 years in a row. How you can't make that? It can't be that consistent and that wild of irresponsibility. Foster, you hit it on the head. This is only the 2 times he's been caught.
Absolutely.
You do
I mean,
not know
you tell me he's 100% from the field. Like, you're only 2 times you did it, you got caught. No, that's not how it works.
That's right. That's right. He's definitely not batting 100. He's not. And when he gets behind, when he gets behind the wheel, everything ain't clicking 100 upstairs either. So, he's in my opinion right now, I want to call him a menace to society. He just lost a teammate, bro. You gotta relax. You gotta relax. We know you got the cars. Just put them on Instagram, and that's fine.
Oh, and he does.
Call
he
them.
Does, and along with the bling, like JJ. But it's hey, and the designer, apparel. He likes it. He's made more money as last year at USC with NIL money than he's making now. But
wow, hey, look, you know the saying, Dave, a fool and his money.
Mm-hmm.
If he likes having money, you better chill out.
Mm-hmm. And for the money management deals, he needs to talk to Adrian Peterson and how quickly it goes and how you can be bankrupt. And then, when it comes to possible issues with consumption of whatever substance, I hope Chris Carter sits him down and talks to him, because Chris Carter went through it. That was the whole deal. And then he got traded to Minnesota, and he got straightened out in Minnesota and went on to have a, Hall of Fame career. But you've got to be able to rein that in, or you're going to waste it. And it's such a shame if he does. And the timing of it was so bad. It's, a week after a teammate dies because of a drunk driver. And no.
Horrible timing.
The timing's never good.
It's never good.
No, it's never good.
But it'd be like that.
It could be degrees of worse.
Yeah, it's never a great time for a DUI, but this is just not good when it happened. It's just not good.
Now, Scottish Bear asks, is Foster the Packers fan? No, Foster is not. You can see he's in the Honolulu blue around him. He's a Detroit Lions. However,
it's questionable sometimes.
However, Scottish Bear, if you know any Packers fans over in your neck of the woods that wish to start a Packers podcast and join us, we're looking for somebody who loves the Go Pack Go and all that garbage. We are more than willing to entertain them. We did when we first started this podcast, and it was fun. But
absolutely.
And that goes out to anybody. If you know a Packers person that wants to join this and be our man in the middle, by all means.
Whoa.
That's great.
That's great. Said a cuss word.
Now, speaking of the Packers, I want to do the last little bit and then we'll close. I'm still seeing rumblings that Jordan Love, the professional quarterback, will be getting his extension, and it will be north of $50 million a year.
Jeez.
Looking forward to it, people. Looking forward to it. Hope it's 75.
He needs more. Yeah, 75.
Yeah.
Now, but that is what it is. We'll see. Saw one. It was a composite of multiple quarterback rankings, and they had Jordan Love right above the Detroit quarterback, Jared Goff. And I thought, they're insane.
Not a professional, Jared Goff.
Hey, I'll trust Jared Goff any day of the week. I still don't have faith in Mr. Love. I'm hoping he comes out with that horrible half a season again. But we'll find out. With that, Pay, where can they find you?
You can find me and all my Chicago-centric teammates anywhere you get your podcast, whether you want to check out the Bear Claw, Shot City Bulletin Board, focus on the Bulls, or what did the White Sox just do? Which is our new show, focus on the Chicago White Sox, soon to be Nashville White Sox. We're anywhere you get your podcast, like I said, audio-wise, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, Pandora, YouTube Music, or any else. Or you want to come over to YouTube, everything is posted there as well. The YouTube handle is Frustrated Chicago Sports Fans. Check us out. We drop something new every day.
Which is awesome. June, where can they find Bleachers to Speakers?
Subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube, and we're on any podcast streaming platforms for your audio feeds. You can check us out on YouTube Music, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Bleachers to Speakers, FFSN. You can also check out Post Game Podcast, which is our Pistons show that can be found on those platforms as well. You can find that on Bleachers to Speakers as well on YouTube.
Yeah, but we also have a baseball show.
I was about to say.
Yes. I gotta let you know.
Yeah. So we got a baseball show as well. Corner to Copa. The Tigers are on fire right now for the time being. But yeah, please subscribe to Bleachers Speakers. We have Pistons, Tigers, Lions content. We got a summer league show coming up right after this. So plenty of Detroit sports content to go around on that channel. So yeah, check us out.
Have they started playing ball games again since the All-Star break?
No, the Tigers will be back on Friday.
Okay. And that had to be one of the most interesting national anthems since Roseanne Barr did it.
And she is from the Detroit area, Southfield, Michigan, which is that's June's hood.
Put my city on the map, man.
Detroit with another win.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all talk about it. It's cool.
Yeah. Anyways, you can find me over at Vikings First and SKOL on YouTube, on any of your podcast aggregators, and Facebook and Fans First Sports Network, where we're partnered. We have written side as well. That's it for today. Now, for Vikings First and SKOL, we've got another show coming up in a little over, just about an hour, a real 4-0 show, and we're going to be previewing training camp offensive squad. See how the Vikings offense is set up going into training camp and where some of the battles may be. Pay, have you got anything coming up on the Bear Claw?
Coming up on the Bear Claw pod, we do have a special show for for the Bulls. The Bulls show, we do have a special show coming from live from summer camp. We got 2 of our representatives out there, so we'll be having our show straight from Vegas. As far as the Bears, we will be in Bourbonnais covering training camp starting July 28th. Special episode. Don't want to miss it. Going to be full of hijinks.
Good. Foster, you got a show coming up tonight or tomorrow?
Yeah. Oh, as far as the Lions or just in general?
In general.
Oh, we got the Pistons show coming up. We're gonna talk about how we beat the Chicago Bulls yesterday. But it's neither here nor there.
Hey, Jim, what do you say at the end of the show?
I'm sorry.
You're sorry. You need some help?
That is not what Lions do. It's a nasty line.
Oh,
Hey.
it sounded like MGM. But what we do in Chicago,
The Bears.
We bear down. The Bears.
Always. And SKOL Vikings. Everybody, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Like, subscribe, and rate us on your favorite podcast aggregator. Thank you for listening to this NFC North group effort on the Fans First Sports Network. This has been a The Bear Claw Podcast. Bleachers to Speakers. Vikings First and SKOL. And of course, the Fans First Sports Network production. Thank you for listening.